Hi, I'm Paul Brodie. I'm here with Mitch. He's behind the camera, and this is my shop. Welcome. If you've ever made stuff, you might have started on a project and then get stalled out. It happens, and I have a project like that. It's a coffee table. I started it maybe a couple years ago, maybe even 3 years ago, and it's just way too easy to come out to the shop and work on a bicycle or a motorcycle. So this is the day where I finish the project and you get to watch. So basically, I'm going to make some legs for a coffee table. That's kind of what it looks like. I know what it looks like up in my head, but when I make a sketch like this, you can see that. And what I've got here is some metal. So these pieces got made a couple years ago at least. You can even see how it's starting to rust in my shop, a little bit of rust stains, even though it's dry in here. So these started out as a U-bend. What is a U-bend? These are U-bends. These are exhaust U-bends. If you go to Lordco, if you go to Mopac, you can buy a bend like this. You tell them what you want on the diameter, you tell them the radius of the bend. It's always in the center line of the radius. That's how you measure a bend. These are known as the legs. So I needed some U-bends, and I wanted to use this kind of tubing. It's square, so I can't go to an auto store and get something like this. I have to order it. So I don't have a $100,000 CNC bender, but I got a friend who does. That's Andrew at Pacific Bending and Machine. So I ordered these, and they had legs on them. So I ordered 4 U-bends. I cut them, I welded them, and so those are going to be the parts that go in the middle there. And then these are, that's the top. I'm going to make little feet. I'm going to make them out of this plate. It's a 1/4 inch. So the first thing we're going to do is to use the hacksaw and to cut this piece in half, and we'll also cut the legs to length. I'm going to drill holes in the top part now. This is holes for the screws. And what I'm going to do is to lay it out on one. I'm going to use the TIG, and I'll tack a couple corners, and then when I drill the holes, I only have to lay out one piece. I don't have to lay out both. Combination square, I've got it set for 1/4 inch, so when I mark it, they're all the same. I join the lines. I think I'll do 3 holes on each side at each end, and I'll space them 1.5 inches apart. There we go. I'm not using welding rod. I'm just going to use the TIG. Here we go. And that's all it is. It's very, very small. I've got a center drill. That's what's going to start the hole because it doesn't wobble. It's really sturdy. And then I'll choose a drill which is the right size for this, and then we'll countersink it. So basically 3 steps. I've got to do the countersink next. It's got 1 flute, that's all. It works way better than the ones that have the 4 flutes. So that's what I want. It's basically flush. So I'm going to do all, I'm going to do all the rest of the holes, and then I'm going to flip it over and I'll do all the other side because I've got the right and the left, and then I can split it apart. And because I'm doing the second side, it's the depth which is already set, it's fine. So this a part of the process should go pretty quick. Okay, we have 16 holes and they're all chamfered. And the next step is the belt sander, and what I'll do is I'm going to round these corners a little bit, and when I round the corner it's going to break the tack weld, and then I'll have my two pieces. Let's go to the belt sander. I'm going to make some feet now. These are the little pads that rest on the ground, and I want to use 1/4 inch plate. So I'm gonna lay it out with a red felt pen, and then I'm going to drill 4 holes. That's what's going to mount it on an arbor in the lathe, and then we'll go over to the hacksaw. It's the vertical hacksaw, and we'll cut out the outline more or less, rough shape. And you'll see how that process goes. It screws in like that, and this means I can machine all 4 at once, all to the same size. So put that in the chuck. Nice. Don't have any more low spots. So I just have to take off the burrs now. So there we go. We have 4 washers. They're all the same. They've got a nice little radius so that if the table slides across the floor, it's not going to gouge my floor. So we've done the tops, we've done the feet, now we have to work on the legs. We got to make them all the same length. So we have the legs here, and if you look at the end of the legs, you can see the hacksaw. They got a burr. Hacksaws often cut at a little bit of an angle, so what I want is them to be perfectly straight at a right angle. So I'm going to use the milling machine. We're going to set it up in the mill vise and take an end mill and take a cut right across. There's going to be a stop at the end, so when we flip it around and we take the second cut, they're all going to be exactly the same length. And so that makes a pretty nice finish. Can you see how it's nice and smooth? It's flat. I just take a little file now. I just knock out. See, there's a little burr there. You can tell from your thumbnail. Little burr. I'll just knock that off in the vise. Okay, let's make a stop in the mill. I look in my box of goodies, and I've used this for other stops, but I noticed that when I put this on the table over here, I always have to anchor into a slot. So you see these bolts, and you see that kind of a nut that's, well, it's a rectangular nut. See how it goes right into the slot? And then this just happens to go over like that. See, I've got that right up against the end of the tube, and now if I tighten this, that is my stop. So it goes in, goes up against the stop. You can hear it hit, and then I lock it. I'm going to lock the table so it doesn't move. These are the two locks. A little bit of filing, and the first step after the filing is to weld on the feet. I've got the legs set onto the foot, and it's just held there by gravity, and I'm going to put a little TIG tack on each corner, a little fusion tack. I won't put any rod in there, and then after I've done all four, I'll hold them in the vise, and that's when I'll do the actual welding. And that is a little fusion tack. If you can you see that? Just a tiny little tack there. Okay, so we got 4 little tacks. I'll do the same with the rest. 035 rod, and the tungsten is a 3/32, so it's a little larger than the last time when we had a 16th inch tungsten. Well, that was fun. I have to lay out now, because this is the bottom that goes onto the wooden top. I have to lay out where the legs go now. So that's going to be the inside of the leg, right there. That's my 3/4. So I'm going to mark all these out. And then we can go back and do some TIG welding. Can you see how they're basically right in line? That worked out really good. And that's because the end of the tubes got faced in the mill. If you got one like that, and one over there, that's not good. This is good. So what we're looking for now is these marks, and we want to put the welds equidistant, like that. And then remember I made little marks down there. That shows where the center line of the plate is. That's where we want it. So I can tack that now. This is a really handy tool. It's a jack off a car. I put a pad on the top. And when I want my hand to be up higher, I can put this to whatever height I want. This is a really handy tool for a welder. So a couple little tacks, that's all I want right now. Aha. Okay, see what happened here? This is a perfect example of how a weld pulls. You see that little tack I put right there? It pulled, see, that needs to be right there, and it wants to pull it out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a C-clamp on there. Okay. That's the first one done. That's all done. It just needs to be sandblasted, de-blasted, and painted. Welding is done. I think we'll bolt them on and see what it looks like now. I get to scratch one thing off my list. My coffee table is done. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. See you soon.